All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Otorimonogatari, Episode 2. Okay.
Okay, so we are in the Nadeko arc here.
Yes.
This is some serious snake shenanigans. Slithering sunder the system of her sanity.
Yes, indeed.
And she's only left with the semblance of it.
Right, and Araragi is on his way, and she's excited, but at the same time, she's not because, she freaked out when she was talking to him and everything.
Yeah,
yes.
And going back and checking through the first episode and stuff, there's a little bit of a simpler explanation for why this whole thing is happening in the first place, because of the ritual that went down in Bake, and her mutilating all those snakes, on the tree there, and for it being,
when the curse really was actually a fake anyways because of Kaiki.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah, so now we're in this problem here. So, this is kind of freaky, and it makes me feel really bad for her, because in a lot of ways, I don't see her being at fault really for this. Like, she really thought it was serious back then.
Right, so then what's the way that this particular aberration will tie into her development as a character and the struggles that she's going through right now?
Right. We definitely have seen potential ties to jealousy and stuff like that. But it's going to be interesting, because I feel like this is going to be more of an unveiling more so of who Nadeko is, because she's got layers, like, a snake skin, and she needs to do some shedding.
Yes.
Some letting go.
Yeah.
So
maybe get a haircut.
Ooh.
Because
I like it.
I mean,
so y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, we're going to be starting the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so it's night.
And yet it's light on the other side.
Yeah. Aw. That tongue click. That was Huh!
Ah, yes.
All right. Well, yes, but actually, no.
Well, and Sonotori.
Yeah. Find what? Oh.
Interesting.
Okay. Wait.
Is that giggling or crying?
Well, whatever that was that in the first episode's OP?
I'm not sure.
Huh. I don't know what it is, but that last bit of the OP where you don't see her face ever, like, just kind of gives me chills. Oh. Stop!
Feels so normal now.
Mm-hmm. Everything is daijoubu. Hmm. Okay. Oh. That's cool. Hmm. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Should become noticed, yeah. And think things, yeah.
So is this gonna be about her shedding her skin so that she can confidently be herself, kind of a thing?
I mean, we'll see. Oh. Oh. Wow. Some really good insight there. Wow. And we go back to this, yeah. All right. Formerly known.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
What are those transitional phrases? Yep. I don't think that was a part of the. Uh. Oh.
Okay. That's what gets him to start speaking up.
Hmm. Right.
That's a fun contrast, though, with the OP, though, of wanting his everything.
Yeah. Anything goes. Huh.
Okay. So she's under a lot of pressure.
Hmm.
Ah.
Wow. Speaking her last name in third person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Look to the side and then the stop. Don't cross here.
Yeah.
Well, that was quick.
That's
Oh.
ambiguous.
Yeah. How do you do that? And now the floor's bigger there. Yeah. So. Uh. Okay. Down the coiled snake style stairs. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Going back home. And then gonna have to search.
T-pose to assert dominance.
The moon having it look like a half-open eyelid, you know? Kind of because it's shaped the other way instead of it being a cross. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Wow. Holy crap.
Okay.
That was quick. What's that all about? Yeah, why?
Punishment, maybe?
Quite an otaku way to put it. Oh. Crap. Oh. Oh.
That is an amazing sandcastle.
How is that wrong of her? Oh, cool. Oh. Oh.
Okay.
Because he can tell she's off. They probably called because they were going to ask the... Yep. Huh. Wow.
Okay.
That's nice of you. He's all chastising, like doing the teacher kind of sit.
After all, this is a pretty good outcome, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not like in June. Oh. Wow. Yeah. She doesn't want to be...
And he trusts her.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh,なるほど. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yes, quite.
Huh. But yeah, I can at least listen. Come on. Yeah.
A vampire's watching us.
Oh.
Hadn't really thought about that.
Under the bed. The most horrifying of sanctions, indeed.
Horrifying sanctions.
Yes.
In a spotlight and everything.
Yada yada. Breaking an ordinance law. Ah!
There you go.
Ah! Second cutest after me. That's a compliment.
Yep.
But you actually kind of cock-blocked Sengoku. You know?
Yep. Just a little bit.
Yep. Uh-huh. Oh. She doesn't know you, Shinobu. This is true. This is true.
With something that you wore on your head. Yeah.
Ka.
Yeah.
Oh. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Interesting.
Huh. Wow. Wow. Holy crap!
I feel like you've got a better grasp on what was going on there than me, because I feel like this basically just spelled out exactly the kind of person that Sengoku is. And yet,
kinda, yeah.
I still don't have a firm grasp on it.
Well, there's some parallels that they're drawing. There's some unique things about her.
Yeah.
And, Shinobu, just harshly roasted the crap out of her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Like in a way that I think is way too harsh. Way too harsh. Just personally. I would say that...
Well, but she was doing that in order to try and get a rise out of her, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that she has... Like, everyone has free will. Mm-hmm. Everyone can do whatever they want. But Shinobu specifically did this even though it didn't really seem like Sengoku was against it, but then played it off as being like, yes, I'm protecting you. I came in to save you, basically, even though, you know, she did the thing that basically she roasted her for being. We'll talk about the discussion, yeah. What? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, yeah. This was an episode that in some ways felt very backloaded in terms of the importance of the content. There was a lot of important stuff in the earlier stages of it. But it's more of it felt like it was more establishing kind of the dynamic between Kuchinawa and Nadeko.
Right, and kind of setting up
Sengoku,
setting the stage for the second half.
Right.
Yeah.
So she ends up kind of having a little bit of a conversation on her bedside here, talking about the whole dynamic, and it reveals to Sengoku that it wants her to go and find its corpse.
Yep. Cool.
And then she goes, back to doing school and stuff like that. She has now the white scrunchie. It fits her style. And even the snake starts to notice that the way the environment, the people and the class and the school, something's off. It's just feels wrong.
Well, and one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting about this here is because the big thing that I'm trying to kind of figure out is why particularly a snake, right? We know in the story that there's the whole thing of like her thinking that there's a snake issue, so she does all the stuff. She kills the snakes. She nails them all around and everything, right? So there's a reason from that sense, but from the meta sense for Sengoku as a person, right? How is this particular aberration tying into her character? And one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting here was that it was having a response. It was actually responding to the environment of, hey, this is there's something off about this place. This gives me the creeps. Hey, what that teacher's doing, that's not right. Which is something that Sengoku is absolutely not doing.
Right. There are 3 snake motifs, particularly in the realm of fiction, I would say. like fictional snakes, like mystical, fantastical snakes that I tend to kind of jump on and try and find some connection to, that I think might have some connection here in the episode specifically. And one of them is the shedding of skin.
Sure.
And a lot of that is the facade, the fake, that in a lot of ways that she is and she also isn't. There's this aspect of her that is very clearly a fake, in that she does not express her true feelings. She lies. She does not say these kinds of things.
She keeps silent.
Yes, and the thing is that that's totally understandable given her situation. It's awkward. Like, a lot of the time, it's tough. It's tricky, and also, you know, she's a little bit younger than, you know, most of the other people in the story and stuff. So figuring out her place and all that is pretty tough.
And then it's also a great way to take the whole idea of her unrequited love and turn it into something that affects the rest of her life as well.
The other thing about snakes is that they are lethal. Snakes are one of the most, like, universal kind of predators, like, things that every, like, creature on the planet has some kind of evolutionary response to. Like, the things that slither on the ground and move with that burst of speed and strike with just deadly accuracy. The aspect of Sengoku that I'm going to touch on at the latter part of the episode, where she was giving those eyes at Shinobu once Shinobu started to get a little bit too close to home, I think. We'll get to that. The other one is from a bunch of other things that use this moniker, I would say, of a snake, and that's basically the Ouroboros snake. The idea that the snake is one that, you know, cannibalizes itself, goes in and eats its own tail, and that kind of thing. And that's something where I see the snake as being something where, in this case, it's something that's almost self-destructive. It's something that is not being, it is not providing a solution. It is a cyclical problem. It coils. It does not have a way to move on. And a lot of the things that we've brought up from the first episode's discussion was how she needs to move on.
Right. Yeah.
But she's not willing to do that.
And since they brought it, like, the way they focus things as far as her personality and everything goes here in this episode is along the idea of her being silent and sort of not standing up for herself and basically just taking whatever hand she's dealt. Which, you know, like Shinobu mentioned, you know, that can cause some pretty amazing hands to get dealt to you, because in the case of, say, Araragi, he's trying to do the nice thing, right? Without the feedback, then you keep doing the nice thing, you know, almost like he's being sucked dry, right? In the case of other people, right, that might not be as concerned with, hey, how's she doing, right? Then it's something where they're sucking her dry, right? Where they're basically constantly demanding things of her, and because she doesn't, you know, say,
she doesn't reject or resist,
right? She doesn't reject or resist, then it just keeps happening. Like it almost makes me think of the snake of the getting trampled. Like the idea that a snake might be able to kill, you know, ridiculous kinds of things, you know, just with a single bite, right? But it can still just get stepped on. And then there you go.
So there were a couple things brought up. She desires to be unnoticed, which is something that in some ways little bit shows where her internal contradictions lie, and that she wants to be noticed by Araragi, but not in that way. But then she also kind of does. So this just shows where a lot of the focus towards someone like the one that she's, you know, crushing on, or she's in love with, Araragi, breaks a lot of these rules. But then also, you know, it's in some ways just what emotions can be. Everything's pretty messy and stuff like that.
The idea that she wants something specific, but because she won't actually say it, she doesn't get that, but she also doesn't get the thing that she wants in other circles. So
the other thing they brought up was there were a couple characters, well, specifically just Shinobu, Araragi, and Kuchinawa, bringing up little idiosyncrasies of things that she does to characterize her. And I thought this was rather cool. She's the kind of person that uses a lot of transitional phrases to move past basically some difficult conversations so that she can basically keep her head down and, one, not cause any kind of conflict on her end,
Sure.
but also try and brush off maybe some of the more difficult things that she might need to actually confront.
Right.
So when they brought the things of, oh, you use a lot of things like in any case, and that aside, one of the things that is tough with communication, specifically when you're communicating with someone who has a desire towards you, but you're unwilling to kind of meet it. An example would be, say someone has feelings for you, but you're going to have to reject them or what have you.
Sure.
You want to be respectful, and you want to show that at the very least, even though you're rejecting them, you don't want to devalue or condescend to them, right? Yeah, that's something very important. So you kindly say, oh, I'm flattered. I appreciate that you say that, but no, I'm not interested in you.
Yeah.
So you give a very clear, emphatic bit there, but you soften it up a little bit with the respectful verbiage there. Well, one of the things that's that ties into a little bit of what Shinobu says later is that these kinds of transitional phrases are actually especially if following some kind of thing that another person said. If it's something following what she was saying, it means I would say a little bit less. But it's actually a bit of a form of condescension. It's a bit of a form of, and brush that aside, In any case, what was said previously doesn't matter.
Sure.
You and I've talked about that when someone uses a contraction, like but, but what the really only important bit is the part that goes after the but.
Yeah, and that can be something where when it's about something that someone else is bringing up, it's dismissing it, right? But that can also be done as a defense mechanism where this is uncomfortable. I don't want to deal with it, right? Hence avoidance, silence, all that, right?
Yeah. Pigeonholing it without consideration is the secret to your success.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I have to think about that. And then immediately she says, goes, in any case.
Yeah, which is basically, yes, you're exactly right.
Well, it's definitely saying you're exactly right. But what it's also saying is, I don't care about what you say.
Right. I don't want to deal with that.
To deal with that thing. And then it immediately goes into her internal thing. And I'm so glad that they went and kept it simple and just shows my survival technique.
Yep.
Yeah. And he called it the secret to her success. And it's no. Success is not surviving.
Right.
Success is overcoming a problem. Yeah. Survival is making sure that the problem does not affect you in any way possible.
So, you got a plan? Hiding ain't a plan? It'll do you for a spell.
Right, right, exactly.
And this is and that's why like this arc and Sengoku's issues feel very similar to Hanakawa's in that it's something that is not being addressed, right? She's not being honest with herself about some of the things that are going on inside her.
Right.
So, and she needs to be able to do that, hence why the whole shedding skin is very important, right? Because then she can get rid of the facade and she can, truly be herself.
That little bit of the, Oshino Shinobu, formerly Kiss Shot Acerilla Orion Heart Underblade. The bad things gathering at the shrine thanks to her, the source of the energy supporting my current form, but the same spiritual energy was also used for something completely trivial.
Yeah. Yep.
It was Shinobu. Well, that's thanks to Shinobu. But I also wanted to bring something up. I don't think this is necessarily the case, but I am going to bring it up because I'm going to go in a little bit hard, maybe more so than I should, about the way this episode ended. And then it says, that's Shinobu. She's both the cause and the effect. I'm going to basically go in, I'm just going to say it now, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Shinobu pushed things that she shouldn't have because it just wasn't her place to say anything. And also it wasn't her place to basically stop Araragi and then basically chastise...
Right, because Araragi wasn't going to do anything, but then she plays it off as, oh yes, I saved you from, whatever.
Right. You would have been a child. You would have been bearing a child at your age.
And it's a great fun, great joke, but the idea of, well, what is happening here? But also, I feel like this is something where, it might be something where this is basically forcing Nadeko to evolve, basically, right?
Sure.
Because the shedding of the skin is not going to be something that's comfortable. The reason that the skin is shed, or at least I don't know if that's the case for snakes. For lobsters, I know that it's the case that because it's an exoskeleton, not just the skin,
Right.
that they cannot. That's how they grow. They get to the point where they can't grow. They're too big for their shell, right? Yeah. And then they get rid of it and grow a new one, right? And then boom, there you go. They've progressed to the next stage of their life, and they're able to exist at that level.
Yeah.
If that's a similar thing for snakes, I can imagine it would be just less rigid because it's not an exoskeleton.
Yeah.
That for maybe Sengoku, it's something where she needs to address these things, but she doesn't want to.
Right.
And if not for being pushed like this, she would keep going without doing that, right? Without actually addressing like the issues inside of her. So it's probably going to happen because of Shinobu.
Yes.
The question is while the circumstances for it, like Shinobu was very rough here.
Yeah, let's get to that part when we're like, let's get to the Shinobu specific stuff a little bit more once we've got to that part of the episode. Do you mind if we just skip through this stuff there?
Okay,
a little bit there.
Sure.
Sorry. I'm following with you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little bit of kind of her going through the, where's your body and all that, and then I reincarnated as a princess. Foreshadowing the changing into a Medusa.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
I thought that was also probably like referencing some story or something that I didn't get because they showed a very particular bit of artwork when she talked about being a princess.
Yes, that's probably the case. But we go through the whole thing with the school teacher who basically reveals that she was class president. And I think that might have been...
I don't think we even knew that, like, until now.
I'm not sure. That might have been given in the exposition when she talked about the whole situation with the class and how Kaiki kind of screwed everything up, or...
And were they intending to say that she became the class president because she didn't get one of Kaiki's charms?
Yeah, I think what it was that there was a thing where no one
wanted to do it.
No one wanted to do it.
And did they get like a charm to keep them from like becoming the person that ended up being,
Well, what I think ended up happening was she kind of subconsciously got ostracized from the collective because she didn't do the thing.
Because she was doing nothing.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the one part where usually her being quiet
would be
helpful, this part was where it didn't work, and then people put upon her this thing that they knew she wouldn't say no to.
Right.
And thus here we are. Tossing all the responsibility to someone else. That feels like that line just in general feels very apropos for a couple other kind of situations and characters, but
I love the snake's like, isn't that worse than me? Like that's I don't know, that's pretty bad. Even for a guy like me, that's cold.
Right. So she ends up sneaking out to search for the vessel, ends up having the false alarm, digging in the sandbox.
Right.
It's kind of a cutesy, funny scene, but then sudden Araragi, because of mothers talking, and then passes it on to his sisters, which then he hears about, so that he goes out to look for her. And it's like, all right, cool. It's the classic thing of, I feel bad, and I'm going to be Araragi and go help as best I can. And he's kind of being the chastising. This little comedy bit of him just sneaking up on Suki. It's like, wait, what?
I love how Sukihi's hair has no canon length. It's just, sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short, and then it's long again,
You idiot. What if Sengoku goes extinct because of that? Again, I think these casual jokes about like death and stuff like that, and the fact that Sengoku is going to at some point transform a little bit, that does feel a little bit like, I don't know, feel like a little bit pointed. But we're here. What was the thing that you were saying was a little bit tricky or interesting about this bit here?
What?
Oh, sorry. This scene here
with them in his room.
Yeah. What was the main vibe you got from it?
Well, just that Araragi. Well, okay, so Araragi's wanting to help her out, right? But
Right.
because she doesn't do, because silence and avoidance is her thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's not actually giving him an opportunity to really help her, right? He wants to, but because she doesn't want to be vulnerable about it, because she wants to just sort of be invisible, right? It's the sort of hypocrisy of her situation where she wants to both be invisible, but she also wants to be noticed. But she only wants to be noticed by particular people. She doesn't want to be noticed by all the other people in the class, but she wants to be noticed by Araragi, right? And yet she's not willing to actually basically show her true skin, right? So that then he can, help her in the way that she wants him to, and because he does want to help, right?
Right. She's got a part of her that is tired of being the victim, and yet because of patterns and because of the way she's done things, this is kind of her kind of path of least resistance.
And also the idea may be that this is the one way where she can constantly get Araragi to be focused on her.
Yep.
Is because if she doesn't actually say what it is she wants, then he'll constantly be thinking about it because he knows that something's off, right? And he'll be trying to fix it, but she's not letting him fix it. And then the other visual thing for snakes is the idea of them coiling around something, and that's kind of what I feel like is happening here, which is maybe why Shinobu put a stop to it, right? Because Shinobu didn't just pop out and punch Araragi because it's like, oh no, you guys can't be sleeping in the same bed or whatever.
Okay.
It wasn't like that. That'd be something so trivial considering the kind of person that Shinobu knows Araragi to be, right? That wouldn't be the issue.
Okay.
And especially because the way that Shinobu talked about Sengoku as being like a real monster, like truly terrifying, more so than any aberration. That's the only way I can see her as being that, maybe. Where
So you think Shinobu did this because she was worried about the threat she would pose to Araragi?
Kind of. And as for how and everything, I don't know. Like it could just be it could just be that Shinobu, like, because she's a proud vampire and all that, she doesn't like the idea of someone basically twisting Araragi up because of just the sort of passive aggressive not saying what they want kind of a thing.
Okay. I definitely think that there's something there with regards to that. He goes through this whole thing of being like, you probably shouldn't consult me, but I can at the very least listen and stuff like that. And then he comically guesses exactly what's going on in a way that I'm kind of rolling my eyes at the fourth wall thing of like, yes, Araragi completely knows exactly what's going on, of course, because yeah.
But it could also be something where even when Sengoku is specifically given the opportunity of, is it this,
Yes.
She won't do anything about it.
Well, it's because it's scary, and she's also extremely nervous being alone in the room with the guy that she really likes.
Oh yeah, there's if there weren't reasons for why she does the things that she did, then there wouldn't really be a way to fix it.
Right. As we get towards the end of this here, I definitely do think that there was, something specifically with the kind of the hentai and then punch kind of thing going on there, but in the respect that that's what was kind of going on, but she jokes about it. He was this close to breaking a metropolitan area ordinance.
Right, like that could just be an anime joke of like, oh yeah, we can't actually, even though Araragi would absolutely, do whatever he could to help her out, there are some things that we can't have actually happen. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, yes. But then she like jokes about it even more. Like, I think the question of why Shinobu jumped out and did this is, yeah. You were just about to be raising a child at your age, but I don't think it's actually something as where she saw Sengoku as a threat.
Okay.
Go for it.
Here's the thought. She made this whole comment about like her sharing Araragi's pain, right? But if I knock him out unconscious in an instant, then I don't have any problems, right?
Yeah.
And then she proceeds to do something that I'm sure Araragi would not have been okay with, and probably, you know, if he was conscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that Shinobu detected how much pain Araragi was in because he like this person that he cared about was clearly suffering, not doing well, and he wasn't able to help them, and they weren't letting him help them, right? So Shinobu's saying, "I'm going to take matters into my own hands because, and that's why she thought it was so insidious, is because Sengoku wasn't realizing how much distress it was causing Araragi, maybe that she was in this situation, and she had all the power to stop that rough situation that Araragi was in, and yet she wouldn't because it was something that would cause her to have to, you know, make a decision, right?"
Yep. And again, everyone has free will. No one is entitled to share anything that they don't want to. But there is one thing that very clearly needs to be expressed in this scene. Shinobu robbed Araragi of his free will in this instant there with a vampire punch.
That's yes.
And yes, it's a great comedic scene. But when I think of the way this scene ends, it turns into something that I don't find funny. I don't find funny at all. I take this as, yes, it's a very serious situation. She gives basically the, like, I am the 500-year-old, you know, vampire, and there's no way you can compete in terms of a, like, conversation with me. Like, Shinobu can read Sengoku like a book.
Although I get the feeling Shinobu would have been pleasantly surprised if Sengoku had even tried.
Sengoku even tried to what?
Basically, if Sengoku had gone to stand up for herself, because Shinobu's whole thing is talking about how you don't stand up for yourself, you don't do all of these things, and because of that, you know, it causes issues, right?
Right, but Shinobu has like limited to no experience with Sengoku. That's why she calls her Bangs Girl. Like,
what do you mean?
Oh, meaning that Shinobu is being a proud vampire here by also kind of assuming that it's her place to, you know, say any of this stuff and things like that. Again, she has free will and she can say this and stuff like that. But in the standpoint of just kind of what I feel like
she's forcing Sengoku into conflict.
Yeah, right. And that's something that is aggressive. That's not something not something that will make Sengoku in any ways more amiable to listen to what she's going to say. And if I would say that Sengoku was maybe thinking about this in maybe a little bit more of the short term, because I think Shinobu, if Shinobu was thinking about this more in the long term, my brain. If Shinobu was thinking about this more in the short term, there are better ways that she would have done this, and I know that she's probably capable of doing this. But I think she's thinking about this more in the long term because
I'm going to get it to cause a problem. I'm going to push her to the point where she actually does start to do something.
Yeah. And I think that's going to cause a bit of the problem that even Shinobu wasn't really prepared for with this whole thing here. So...
Well, right. We know she wasn't fully prepared for it because of the fight at the beginning.
Yeah,
and
we know
how that went. Yeah. But of course, if shedding skin was easy, there would be no point to it in the first place.
Like, I understand in a lot of ways she's sitting in between them. She's being the guardian. She's kind of taken control of the situation here. And she kind of gives the... is it because you took the hint that this is a situation where I should apologize if it's reading a script? That feels very Hanakawa kind of issue there. But after all of this, we can very clearly see, like, anyone can tell Sengoku is very much not enjoying this. I don't think Shinobu really minds necessarily.
Well, right, because in a lot of ways she sees herself in Sengoku, you know, because of the whole thing. You know, I sat around, you know, quiet, like, just like that for a long time myself. Which is maybe why she's being a little bit extra harsh, because she sees this part of herself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then she brings up the whole advantage that she would have because, people automatically assume that she needs help, so they, come in to help her and stuff like that. And this is something that I think is a very good point to bring up. This is, I would say, probably the better part of it here for Shinobu, is bringing this up, because it's something that's getting her to, I would say, respond a little bit more. Now, obviously, she's rejecting it here and stuff, but that is a thing. I know personally a lot of people that are stuck in this kind of a mindset there, and yeah. And just going into the what we call that in Japanese, we call that devilish. And then I'm just saying you're more of a monster than aberrations are. And, scorn, or what have you. Whose scorn is that?
Yeah. Well, given that this arc is...
Given that Araragi is knocked out.
Well, right. Given that so far this arc has been from the perspective of Sengoku. Probably her.
Yeah.
And then... No, it's all right. Sorry, I apologize. I spoke a bit too harsh.
No, it's too late. It's too late. It's too late, Shinobu. What am I talking about to a mere human? Like, the amount of... You can just stay the way, or keep living the way you do. I couldn't care less. Live like that and die like that. And like that, you can have Koyomi Onicha worry about you for the rest of your life. She's stating the facts. Absolutely.
Yep.
Good for you that you just happen to be cute. It is the most hilarious thing when I hear people, and I this is maybe a little bit of me also getting a little bit suckered in by a little bit of the, because I think this is a meta thing. I think we're supposed to get a little bit suckered in by Sengoku, so and feel like, oh, big bad vampire Shinobu is bullying her here,
right?
Even though she's even though she is spitting facts here, I do think that it's still there's measures, there's points where you gotta be a little bit more careful, because her whole callous kind of, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, that was a bit too harsh, and then she drops the basically the mondo of this whole thing here.
Well, what I love about this is that in a lot of ways, by her doing the backpedaling of apologizing and things like that, that's essentially doing with a magnifying glass, what Sengoku does.
Oh, sure.
Of deflecting, right? And being like, no, it's fine, it's all right. That aside, you can totally do this if you want, and this is the results of that, and there you go. She goes to she ends on a passive aggressive note, maybe because that's what Sengoku will understand.
This is basically the part where I feel almost completely pulled into Sengoku's situation here in terms of just empathy and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is probably what Araragi was somewhat experiencing, but because he knows her even more than we do or what have you.
Sure.
He's able to have that empathy translate into the pain that she's experiencing, and he doesn't fully understand all of it, but he knows it's there, so that he's he's capable of that. So yes, maybe Shinobu was thinking, I don't want him acting necessarily in the midst of all this emotion here, so I'm going to put a stop to it. There's just a couple strikes here. One, Araragi, at least I think, deserves a little bit more credit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Two, Shinobu basically just roasting the crap out of her. Someone that they barely even know each other. And three, then making this kind of played off as a really condescending kind of joke thing. And that is totally her character and stuff. And I have no problems with Shinobu's character. I just think that if we are going to be, telling this story in a way where we kind of know where it's going to end up in some ways, this is an important point in the causal chain of events that's going to lead to Sengoku.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
fully embracing.
So here's my question
thing.
for you, because I am almost entirely in Shinobu's court on this one, and it's not just because I'm wearing the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Do you see what we saw at the beginning with Sengoku as a Medusa? The beginning of the first episode.
Oh, yes.
Of her as a Medusa.
Right.
Do you see that as being a bad thing or a good thing?
Oh.
Because I see it as being a good thing.
Okay.
It's a necessary step in my mind for her in order to shed the skin.
I don't see it as a good or...
She has to first embrace it.
Yeah, I don't see it as a good or a bad thing.
Okay.
I just see it as a thing.
That's a very Sengoku kind of thing. Yeah.
No, but I don't think I can rationally judge it as a good or a bad thing. One, because as a character, Sengoku is one that needs to change.
Right.
So I don't see anything wrong with change, but as to judging the validity of said change, then it goes into a gray area where it's like, change for the sake of change is not always necessarily a good or a bad thing.
No, but
it's a murky area.
Yeah, but or at least my personal perspective is that the change that's happening with Sengoku is all part of a process. Right?
Well, definitely.
And that it's something
obvious.
and it's something that Sengoku absolutely would not have done without some extra motivation,
some external stimuli.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why the snake's important, right? Yeah. Because the thing is that and maybe I'm off in the weeds here completely, right?
Yeah.
But that would also in my mind explain why the aberration was not caused directly by her internal issues, right? The aberration instead shines a light on her internal issues so that then it can be resolved.
Right, but then wouldn't it eventually played itself out somewhat similarly?
I don't think so. Because Sengoku would keep doing her avoidance thing that she's always done, right? And she's really good at it.
Okay.
And anytime it gets too uncomfortable, then she'd do a bigger avoidance.
Yeah, and since we have the benefit of being able to see into the future with regards to the eventual conflict and what have you, I think that there's a little bit of a meta gaming kind of aspect with regards to thinking about this that makes it a little bit of a, well, it was all worth it in the end. But still, I think that rather than having it be a thing of where Shinobu does it, having maybe Araragi doing it, maybe there's an aspect of protecting Araragi of something that I'm not considering here, and that is actually where I would put Shinobu as being definitely in the right, and that's where I would like to see this, rather than it being about her trying to fix Sengoku, because she doesn't care.
Well, right, and
she doesn't care.
That's kind of why I think it's important, because not to say that that Shinobu is necessarily right, because she was being a bit mean here. Like, let's be real, just a bit, right? But the thing is that Araragi would have never done something like that. He's a good kid.
I don't operate in that kind of never thing. Yeah.
Well, but in my mind, the reason why, even if Shinobu wasn't necessarily right, that her doing that was good for Nadeko, is because it's the harsh realization from basically an uninterested third party, right? Someone who doesn't care about her particularly, what the effects of this way of living can have on other people.
But in order to do that, she needed to specifically remove Araragi from the thing, which is part of her playing a little bit dirty, in my opinion here. It would have been harder, and it would have probably been actually more, maybe even dramatic of it, if she actually did it with Araragi conscious.
Here's why I don't think so. I totally see what you mean, but the reason I don't think so is because if that had happened, Araragi would have come to Sengoku's aid. He would have come to defend her. Right?
And then she would have had to tell off Araragi and Sengoku, which in some ways might be better, actually, in terms of, there being now a relational
potentially
thing between this here.
Potentially, and I do like that. But I feel like from the purpose of Sengoku, like, that probably would have been more helpful for Araragi.
Yeah.
But because it takes two to tango and all that, right? But it still would have been something where Sengoku basically would have been able to be dodging and weaving out of the way because she would have essentially had a shield.
Right. Hence, what I'm saying is that I think Shinobu is doing this from a place of where it's easier for her. It doesn't actually put any kind of negative connotations onto her with the person she actually cares about in this situation. Which is
Sure,
Araragi.
yeah.
So
it doesn't rock that boat. Yeah.
Right. So if anything, it's kind of a
She's doing the selfish thing.
Well, okay. I don't think this has anything to do with her. Again, I really think Shinobu is doing this because she's frustrated more than anything that it's happening in her presence. So
sure.
So it's causing her then it is selfish. Yeah, it's causing her discomfort, so she just puts an end to it. But if there's anything that's good about it, I think that she is protecting Araragi in some way, and that's something that maybe should be explored rather than whether or not she made the best decision here. Because I'm almost completely dead set locked in. I don't really see any other way that it would be a way that it would be better than doing it either with Araragi present or with that there.
Or maybe it's a representation of the opposite, in that she's just basically doing the selfish thing, essentially, right? Of this causes her discomfort and everything, so she's acting upon it, which is something that Sengoku doesn't do, right?
Right. Yeah. I just like I'm honestly not thinking about this from the standpoint of, well, this person hurt Sengoku's feelings, and that's the main problem here. What I'm thinking about this is, I don't like putting characters in the mindset where they can perfectly predict how another person is going to respond, and that it's ultimately going to be for the benefit of them. And Shinobu gets a little bit of I am a perfect being.
High and mighty. I've been around for 5 centuries. Yeah. I know stuff. Yeah.
That's nice and all. I just have to see it in the dialogue here.
Right. It's something that you would not actually want to have happen in real life.
Right. And what I really liked here was her saying that her calling her out on the advantage. That was the part, I think, where I was like, okay, that's great. But all the other stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna. It's
like, okay, now you're just being mean.
Yeah, now you're just being a dick. Like now, yeah. And the thing is that part there, when it comes into, when it comes into her actually responding in some ways, and just kind of ultimately rejecting it and stuff, she does kind of go into like, okay, that's something that would end up going this way if we were in a dispute. But then she kind of has this moment of, I actually thought you might be playing the part on purpose, but it doesn't seem so.
Which is kind of giving Sengoku some credit and being like, hey, I thought you were doing this intentionally,
right?
Which would naturally piss her off. Okay, you weren't doing that.
But instead, when she does that, then she goes for so that means you're actually a monster. Like you're devilish. Like there's something seriously wrong with you. Like, okay, yeah. Obviously, there's stuff that she's dealing with that's wrong with her here. But like, maybe I just have a little bit of an issue with kind of boundaries of people that have no relationship and stuff bringing this in here, and then kind of falling under the, oh no, it's all right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I spoke a bit too harsh.
When they don't mean
that at all. They don't mean that at all. So again, I don't dislike Shinobu's character even in the slightest here. But I'm just saying, like, if you put yourself into this situation here, and you're like Sengoku here, like, this is very clearly I would say this is either brilliant writing, and I'm suckered into the whole thing of painting her as the victim here, which I think I am if she's not. Or, oh my god, like, Shinobu, you're going to cause a lot of problems that will take time before they get solved. And if she's thinking about Araragi's protection there, then I would say she's a little bit short-sighted in this regard. She's getting too much pleasure out of the fact that she's, condescending to Sengoku. And instead of kind of trying to bridge the gap in some way and maintain a connection in some way, because in a lot of ways, Shinobu is a kind of a a huge part of Araragi's life and what have you.
Yeah.
And she's not dumb. Shinobu's very smart. She sees what's going on here. She's very aware. That's why she can be so condescending about that.
Right.
Because she's right.
And if she had
she's
been
totally right.
well, and if she had been like, okay, all right, now that he's unconscious, let's square up. Like, let's actually let's be real here. Okay.
And then she would have found out, oh, you're not doing this intentionally. Right. Oh, well, then we need to have a whole different conversation, or I'm just going to be kind of your I'm just going to be the Araragi, wax on, wax off wall here of
because at that point I feel like then the conversation would be, so you're going to do something about this, right? Like right? What are you going to do about that? Because this is a problem. This is a problem. Yeah. How are you going to fix that? Well, I mean, in any case,
she might have just turned her head down and been silent, like, right. Oh, okay, you're not going to do anything. Okay, cool. Well, then go on, live like that. That's your thing. But I am properly
emotionally invested.
Emotionally invested, yes, in the journey that's going to come up here, because I can very much see now a certain type of venom that is now in Sengoku that is specifically going to be leveled at Shinobu.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think of going back to the first episode in this arc here. Who was it that she said she hated? It was Araragi.
It was
right?
Araragi.
Yeah. And she completely sends both of them back. There was a pretty even distribution of her rage and frustration.
She took both of them out pretty hard. Yeah.
Okay, so gotcha. And that was after some point where Araragi and Shinobu had determined that they need to stop her.
Right.
So they had encountered her at some point before that.
Right. And it's, okay, this is now a
really big problem.
Really big problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
And okay, that's my rant. I am sorry it took so long, y'all. Please understand where I'm coming from. That is the gist of it here. I wanted to have a good piece for this latter bit of the episode here, because oh my god,
I gotta say, I love it when Shinobu shows up.
Yeah, Shinobu definitely owns every scene that she's in.
She very much steals the spotlight. She in fact stands on the spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah, and her jokes are great too. Zoning problem. Oh my god. All right. Well, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and the mods will pass us along with some stuff. I'm sure that there's going to be some different opinions and stuff in there.
Probably.
And that's good. That's good, because in a lot of ways you guys will have more info than I have.
Well,
and maybe in some ways I'm completely wrong in some of this, and I would love to, without spoilers and stuff like that, because eventually these comments will get passed on if they have some element of self-contained parts where once we've finished either this part or just wherever the relevant info is, thinking about okay, but in this situation, how would you look at this?
Right.
If you were in, Shinobu's point of view, or if you were in Sengoku's point of view, if you were just a completely third party member.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm interested.
Yeah, because those complicated conversations are good, as was showcased here. Conflict is necessary.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes.
Well, yeah. I mean, how you do the conflict is one thing, but not having any conflict at all is a whole other can of worms.
For sure. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there, and any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us about this story, unspoilery, of course, and you can also talk with our community there. There's a lot of people that are fans of Monogatari there.
Yes.
And you can also talk with Jacob about the book he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel. It's called Battle Lines. It's on Amazon. Links in the description.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Leave a review. And there's also an ebook. So if you don't want to deal with a hard copy or things like that, you can get that.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.